Hi everyone! Welcome back to my channel. My name is Iris, and today I would like to recommend 5 books for students. The 5 books that I'm sharing, I find through my own experience, is that they helped me to have a better feel of the writing, reading, and vocabulary expectations that are useful in the undergraduate and also graduate studies. I also find that one of the books especially is very helpful, kind of giving you a way to start learning to become an adult. So adulting in a sense. And to be honest, I find that in your college or academic career, it really is important to not just be a studious student. It's really important to build your life experiences and learn from them as well. So for all the 5 books that I'm sharing today, I will link them down in the description in case you want to have access to those and purchase them for your own personal purposes. So let's get on with today's video. The first book that I want to talk about is Barron's Basic Word List. This is a book that is going to help develop your college level vocabulary. There are around 2,000 plus words, and the format of the book is 50 word lists. For each word within a word list, you will see a definition and also a sample sentence. There is also a synonym test after each word list, and overall there are 5 comprehensive tests throughout the book. So the book actually gives some language learning tips. One of the main ones is using flashcards, and from what I hear is that a lot of students recommend and also use Anki. So if you're interested, you can look into that and use this as a way of building your knowledge on the word lists from this book. The book itself also has step-by-step guides on studying the word list that it contains, and I find that it would be the most useful to pair the book with your college readings. And why I say this is because the college readings that you're going to encounter are going to include a fair amount of unfamiliar words and also difficult and challenging words. From learning the language learning tips from the book and using the flashcard method, you are going to have a better way of studying new words that you are encountering in your college readings. I would like to caution students to not overuse words to boost the sophistication of your essay. It's good to know more difficult words because you will run into more challenging pieces of writing throughout your undergraduate career and also your graduate, but definitely don't try to just force in those words to make yourself sound smarter or just to show you know like a lot of words. Academic writing is about being straightforward, concise, and clear. You want to ensure your audience gets what you're saying even if they're not in your field. So yes, it's good to know the words to have a better grasp of what you're reading, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend putting all those words into work when you're writing a paper. And I would recommend students to also pair this book with a dictionary, as the definitions, model sentences, and synonym tests might include words that you do not know. And at that point, if you want to get the most out of the book, the dictionary will be a great help. The second book that I would like to talk about is the TED Talks, The Official Guide to Public Speaking. So from this book, I found that it was helpful for building my skills on giving presentations in my courses. And the tips they give you is very helpful in certain cases, but you still need to keep in mind the criteria for your presentation in your specific course, because that's what your professors are going to be marking you from. But it doesn't hurt to have some extra skills that you can kind of weave in. The book discusses how ideas can be built. One of the ways that you can build ideas is to think about first-person experiences. If we're talking about a really academic presentation, you would most likely think about an event or events that have led you to tackle a certain idea or concept. So in my case, I'm an education major, so some of the events that I would think about is maybe from my own learning experiences or teaching experiences. And out of those experiences, I would think about maybe a topic or a concept that I am very passionate or interested about. If we're talking about a personal narrative presentation, it's most likely an meaningful event that has led you to a certain lesson. So, in my major in education, we sometimes have to write and present a personal narrative. I think for students in the arts, this is kind of more relevant because we usually take life experiences as a way of presenting new ideas or bringing new ideas into discussion. So it really depends on what kind of presentation you will be giving. But either case, it's important to think about events that have kind of left a mark on you. Within the idea building, there is also the development of a through line that's mentioned in this book. And they quote a single connected thread or the connecting theme that ties together each narrative element. So what I get out of this is the through line has to express what is the idea that you're going to be talking about and what is the takeaway. So a way of breaking this down would be kind of like a thesis and then an implication. So within that through line, you really only can present one idea because there's a limited amount of time for your whole presentation. So every element that you're putting into that presentation must be linked to the big general idea that you are expressing. And the book does a great job in kind of giving you a checklist of how you can develop this through line. The book also introduces the structure of a TED Talk, and this is based on Sir Ken Robinson's way of structuring his talks. I see it as a very familiar outline to a academic paper where you provide intro, a context, main concepts, practical implications, and also a conclusion. You will also see the book talk about talk tools. 3 of the ones that they present that I find helpful are explanation, so how to explain tough concepts, persuasion, how to change people's minds or perspectives, and revelation, how to reveal an idea that inspires and captivates people. There is also a very detailed preparation process that the book outlines, how to use visuals for your PowerPoints, how to prepare and memorize a script, how to rehearse, how to start and end a presentation, and how to use your voice and presence. If you are interested in this book and you would like to see a set of Golden Standard TED Talks, they have a link to the TED Talk website that has a specific playlist that relates back to this book. The third book that I would like to discuss is the academic writing for graduate students. So first thing that I would like to stress is that this book is not just for graduate students. It's also great for undergraduates who want to improve their academic writing. Why I say this is because from my own experience of reading this, I would have really appreciated it if I knew about this book earlier during my undergrad, as it really helps you familiarize with language in journal articles and it really improves your writing for papers. So the format of this book is like a workbook style. It includes the content, so the lessons that they are bringing in, and then they have tasks, so similar to exercises after a certain topic has been talked about. There is also specific sections where it's on language focus, so these are writing tips related to the main topics in each chapter. The topics that the book covers includes the approach to academic writing, so the overall framework, general to specific and specific to general text that you will often see in academia. The problem, process, and solution text. This is probably one of the more important ones that I find because it really helps you bring in a strong argument within your papers. A data commentary, so if you are working with any graphs, numbers, that kind of thing, it teaches you how to provide more detailed written work to describe your data. There is also chapters that will teach you to write summaries and to write critiques. For critiques, it's usually like book reviews for your course assignments, be evaluating an article, and also reaction papers. And one of the major chapters within the book is helping you to construct a research paper. So if you are an undergraduate student or graduate student that will pursue a thesis, this would be an important read. The fourth book that I would like to discuss is called The Craft of Research. Like the previous book, this one is also good for both undergraduate and grad students who want to improve their writing. The topics that are covered in this book include finding and researching a topic, forming questions about a topic, forming a research problem from questions on a topic, searching for sources to tackle your research problem, making use of your sources, making good arguments, making claims, providing evidence and reason, creating counter-arguments, making warrants, making plans and drafts, organizing an argument, writing an intro and conclusion, and also revising your papers. The final book that I want to talk about today is The Self-Driven Child. This book discusses the need for kids to develop the ability to make responsible decisions and to take control of their lives. I understand that as you are coming to a close in your high school years and entering college, you wouldn't necessarily see yourself as a child or a kid. In fact, if I was going back and thinking about my first year of college, I wouldn't think I was a child either. I would think that I was ready and also quite mature. But after reading this book, I did learn quite a few tactics and habits that would have been useful to me before I entered post-secondary. So the authors do stress that we should try to have parents and their children come to a mutual understanding and cooperation in getting their child to become adults and grow up, and also to prepare them for their college education or just for their future life. I think that's an ideal situation because even in my case, I wasn't able to achieve that. It was more during my post-secondary that I was starting to learn how to take control of my own life. So that's probably a more realistic mindset. This book is written for parents originally, but it is quite relevant for first-year college students as every family has their own way of parenting and their own background and circumstance, and people are brought up differently. So I find that the book it really benefits lots of different types of people. So if you missed out on some things, it will help you cover those. If you already know some things, it's going to reinforce those positive aspects of you. And it will help you improve and change the more negative parts. And I feel that when you're in your first year of college, you kind of tend to distance yourself from your parents. So if you haven't really prepared well to be responsible and making good decisions, having more control over your life, this is the kind of book I would suggest that you read. So there are cases where we have overbearing parents, worried helicopter parents they call, and parents who might have not been there for their kids because of work. And then there's also the rebellious children. In all these cases, children are likely to be missing some life lessons. And most importantly, for those who have trauma from being forced into college and are struggling in college, this book is probably a must-read. Although your parents might not accept this book or have the ability to read this book, I highly recommend that you read it yourself and you share it with your parents, as this is a way of rebuilding yourself as a human being, and to also give your parents a chance to really see what went wrong and what can be mended. In my own experience, the best, the most meaningful, and effective conversations I had with my mother was really during my college years, because I was slowly gaining life experience and knowledge from going to college. I was opening up to new ideas and advice, and I was starting to learn to be an adult and to take care of myself. That's why I find this book really helpful to read during your college years. The book covers topics such as stress, sense of control, anxiety, motivation, rest, and meditation, sleep, use of technology, exercising the brain and the body, learning disabilities, standardized tests, college prep, and alternatives to college. Like I mentioned before, some of the ideas brought up in this book might help with bettering your relationship with your parents, such as understanding their perspective and changing their perspective. Or if you have toxic parents, you have a method to develop yourself, in your case, finding an opportunity to understand what went wrong and how things could be improved. If you don't feel ready and or you are unconfident and you are already in your first year, this is a book for you, and you can learn to be a responsible decision maker and take control of your life.